What's going on, world? AJ here, and welcome to the inaugural episode for this new channel, AJ Creative Hub, a hub of creativity for Legos, gaming, whatever else that's creative related, I suppose. But primarily, it's going to be Legos. And what better way to start the inaugural episode than let's dive into the tote of some old Lego sets from the 90s, specifically 1998 series, Lego Adventurers, the desert theme. This was one of my favorite series growing up as a kid. It was Johnny Thunder, it was Sam Sinister, Baron von Baron, and it was the Pharaoh himself, skeletons. And you had your crew with you, with Dr. Charles Lightning, Gale Storm, Harry Kane. Even though co-pilot tried to argue with me that some of these characters were named differently, probably per region, I don't know. I think eventually Baron von Baron became Sam Sinister in the later iterations of the Adventurers sub-theme. Weird, messed up stuff. I don't understand what was going on with it, but here we are. We're starting with the Adventurers, which honestly, that's the only Adventurer series I purchased. Shortly after, a couple years after that, I fell out of Legos. By 2000, I was pretty much done buying Legos. So it was great while it lasted. This was 1998, and we are talking about Lego Adventurers. The first set we're going to talk about, Desert Oasis, or Oasis Ambush. This is the one we're going to take a look at. So, without further ado, let's look at the set. First up, let's take a look at the instruction manual, which I still have after all these years. I was one as a kid that kept most of my manuals. I didn't keep the early sets from like 90 and 91 or so, because, you know, I was like young, but over the years, I learned to keep these things in case, you know, I end up breaking the set and need to go fix it. I wasn't one that like tearing down Lego sets. Unless I really didn't care about the set, then I would tear it down. But this is it, Lego Systems. Set number 5938, Oasis Ambush. And as you can see, you got, I count skeletons as minifigures. I don't know about you guys, but you got 3 minifigures. I'm just going to call it as I see it. Johnny Thunder, Sam Sinister, and this Pharaoh-looking skeleton. And plus you got a little scorpion that's hanging around there with the loot inside of the thing. Palm tree. It's a really cool set. It's retail about $8 for this back in the day. I know, that's pretty awesome, right? Nowadays, you can't get a Lego set for $8. About as cheap as you can get is probably the Mandalorian speeder bike thing for $10. That's about as cheap as you can get Legos anymore. It's $10 unless you get the poly bags for $5. Poly bags back in the day used to be like $1 or $2. But yeah, it's pretty simple instructions. They start you with the minifigures. Nowadays, like I did the Enterprise and they had all the figures like spread out through the entire 30 bags, and it irritated the crap out of me because earlier Legos from the 90s like this, you start with your minifigures. You build your guys first. Get them done out of the way. Of course, this one had the palm tree first. Whatever. That's cool. But pretty awesome instruction builds. I love these older instruction manuals. And the bags weren't numbered back in the day. They were not. They were not. And look, hey, look. Everybody's favorite stickers. Yes, they had stickers back then too. I think it was like a late 90s thing, early 2000s thing when stickers started becoming a thing. But the build out on this set is pretty cool, and I really love this set. And, you know, before I was able to get the big giant temple set. But this is it right here. Desert, Oasis, Ambush, whatever the name is. But let's take a look at Johnny Thunder, the star, the main attraction. Now, this was not the first set I got of the series. I think this was like either my second or third. The first one is Johnny Thunder's Tracker, which we'll do that in another episode. But Johnny Thunder was so cool and so awesome looking, carrying a pistol and just that adventurous vibe. I loved every bit of these little maps that they included in some of these sets. And let me focus in on that. There we go. But yeah, these little maps are pretty awesome. They were all very different and distinct per set. There were some repeats in there, but it was so cool to get one of these little maps. And I was like, man, I just want to get all of the sets just to get all the different variations of the maps. But again, like I said, Johnny Thunder is pretty awesome. Standard printing on the front. Back in the day, there was no dual face paint or, facial designs like they do nowadays, where you got two different facial expressions. It was singular. It was it. Sam Sinister over here, looking all sinister and vile and evil with his little suit and top hat, carrying a rifle. Yep, he's up to no good for sure. I love this figure here for Sam Sinister. I like Baron von Baron actually more as the villain, which makes more sense in later sets. But Sam Sinister is pretty cool. I like the top hat. The first top hat I got for a Lego set was Dewey Cheatham from the Wild West series. That was pretty cool. And then Sam Sinister comes in strolling around with the top hat. And of course, you got your basic palm tree build here. Nothing too crazy to talk about with that. It's just a palm tree build. But of course, the main set attraction looks a little dusty because it is dusty. It's old. It's from '98. I mean, let's just be honest. I honestly probably need to go and probably take these apart and deep clean them. I did that with the Royal Knights Castle, actually, and I'm probably looking to rebuild that. And whenever I get to the castle theme, because I want to do all of the adventurers first, and then we'll eventually get to the castle theme. But this thing's a cool mechanism right here. You can pull it up, lift it up, and then of course the skeleton's in there. The treasure could be in there. The treasure could be put in here. I don't know where the treasure went. The treasure is like scattered through stuff. A lot of adventures and storytelling has happened since then. But it's cool to see this. I know the stickers is not perfectly aligned, but it looks cool. I like the hieroglyphics that are on here. And of course, talks about the curse right here from the ruby, which there's no ruby to the set, but curses you to a skeleton, which is pretty cool. I have that as an ongoing storyline with this set because of the ruby. So basically, if anybody takes the ruby, they can control the pharaoh, and the pharaoh will go around with the skeletons and curse the land. All right, so that's how it worked. The villains were basically out to control the pharaoh and his minions and just go take over the world. This was pretty much the story I was telling when it came to the adventurers sets. So this is a pretty cool set. I really like it. It's simple. It's easy. It's one of the great starter sets for $8 to $10 that you could pick up back in the 1998. So I really enjoy this set for what it is. I like the design here with using the treasure chest to make this, dog build up here. So it's pretty neat. The chamber, of course, was always cool. Let's just take out the skeleton here. Let's get him out of here. Let's talk about the skeleton. Come on, man, let's go. And I can't remember what I named this. I used to name all my skeletons. They all had weird, distinctive names. So I can't remember what this one's name was. I know some of them. I don't remember all of them. But I like how it has the pharaoh hat. The arms are like wiggly. That's how they made them back in the day. And I miss that. I miss the old skeletons. The current skeletons are cool. They're cool for what they are. They're able to hold their own with the arms. But the old skeletons were just so much cooler back in the day. But that's it. This is the Oasis Ambush. Sam Sinister is waiting to get the treasure, and then you got the skeleton also involved. I don't know what I did with the scorpion. The scorpion's missing somewhere, but there was a scorpion. All right, I can tell you right there. From here, the scorpion's right here, and it looks like he wants a piece of the loot too. So that's it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day.